Senior business and political leaders from across the world have assembled in the Swiss resort town of Davos to discuss the future of global economy. An estimated 3,000 political and business figures, including 65 government leaders, are attending the 4-day World Economic Forum. The summit in the snow-capped resort city is taking place at a time when the global economy is facing unprecedented challenges. The International Monetary Fund has come out with a grim warning even as the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos gets underway. The IMF has warned that the risks of a sharper slowdown in global growth have increased. The IMF has cut its world economic growth forecast for 2019 and 2020. It has warned that the biggest known risks to global economy are the ongoing US-China trade war and the possibility of a no Brexit deal. Brazil's new far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro, is set to address the World Economic Forum. The summit is taking place against the backdrop of a political crisis around the world, all the way from US to France. As Brazil's president heads to Davos, back home, his son is increasingly getting under scrutiny for 48 suspicious deposits worth a total of $30,000. Made to his bank account in 2017. Questions are also being raised on transactions worth $300,000 detected in the account of a former close aide of Bolsonaro, but the younger Bolsonaro denies any wrongdoing. Prime Minister Theresa May offered a Brexit Plan B with little new modifications. May is now set to tweak the deal, which she hopes will survive a second parliamentary vote. Addressing the parliament, Prime Minister May said that her government has recognized the need for new negotiations. May told members of parliament that the only way to avoid a hard Brexit was for them to approve a deal that outlined the terms for the country's exit from the European Union. So French President Emmanuel Macron hosted over 150 global business leaders at a palace of Versailles in hopes of promoting tax changes and other measures intended to attract foreign investors. This as the Yellow Vest protesters continue their demonstrations against Macron's government policies. The foreign executive stopped in France en route to the World Economic Forum in Davos. According to Macron's office, several companies announced planned investments in France worth $682 million. Macron has started cutting taxes on business revenue and is planning other similar cuts by 2022. With the shutdown now at its 30th day, federal workers in Chicago protested against the shutdown as they hope to get back to work as soon as possible. In downtown Chicago, dozens of 30,000 federal workers who have been furloughed took to the streets, and while chanting "End the shutdown now," the shutdown has affected a quarter of the federal government, and with some 800,000 federal workers are yet to get their paychecks.
Stopped working. Our last day of work was
Activists at a migrant shelter in Tijuana lamented the U.S. president's obsession with the border wall and his harsh language linking migrants with drugs, gangs and violence. But that is not going to deter the caravan from moving towards the U.S. border. One migrant was of the view that the U.S. president understands the reasons why Central American migrants are trying to come to the U.S. before trying to build a wall. Democratic Senator Kamala Harris has officially launched her presidential campaign for 2020. Harris previously served as California's Attorney General. She is also one of the 8 Democrats to join the battle for the party's nomination in the 2020 presidential elections. Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, John Delaney and Kristen Gillibrand are among those who have already announced their intention to run. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Russian President Vladimir Putin are set to meet today to discuss the fate of 4 disputed islands off the coast of Hokkaido in Japan. The islands were claimed by Russia during the last days of World War II. Both the countries have never got around to sign a post-war peace treaty due to the dispute. More than 100 security personnel have been killed in a Taliban attack in Afghanistan. The attack at Maidan Sheher in Wardak province comes at a time when the Taliban is engaged in peace talks with the US in Qatar. Taliban attacked a military base in Maidan Sheher, which is some 44 kilometers southwest of the capital Kabul. The US and Taliban have restarted the peace talks in Qatar. The US has agreed to discuss the issue of US troops withdrawal. The Taliban spokesperson said that there should be no threats from the Afghan soil to any country. Talks will continue today as well. At least 26 people have been killed and 14 injured after a bus and a truck collided and caught fire in Pakistan. The bus crashed in the Balochistan district. 26 bodies have been recovered from the vehicle so far. The injured have been moved to a hospital in Karachi. The Venezuelan government quashed a revolt by a group of 27 soldiers at a command post in Caracas. The opposition has called for a nationwide demonstration urging the armies to abandon President Nicolas Maduro. "14 crew members have been killed and 14 have been rescued after 2 ships caught fire off Crimea. The rescue operation is still underway. Crew members were found jumping into the sea to escape the blaze which broke out during a vessel-to-vessel fuel shipment. Both ships were under the Tanzanian flag and had a total of 31 crew members. 16 of them were Turkish citizens and 15 were from India. The stormy conditions prevailed in the sea when the incident happened. Ousted Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn has offered to wear an electronic ankle tag and hire guards to monitor him in an unusual bid to get bail after 2 months of detention in Japan for alleged financial crimes. Ghosn is also willing to remain in Tokyo, where he has leased an apartment. A new bail hearing is set for Monday after an earlier request was denied due partly to concerns he posed a flight risk. Kyrgyzstan is looking to introduce a legislation that might make it compulsory for the president to wear a national pointed hat on diplomatic trips. This comes after a national uproar that erupted in 2017 when a dog was photographed wearing the traditional hat at a dog show. A parliamentary committee has also supported the proposal. The headpiece has a special place in the Central Asian country, and also it has its own national day. The 4-panel hat symbolizes the peaks of the snow-capped Kyrgyz mountains.
А кашемиры вот эти 4. Такие стеганые. Они от 2 и выше.
Напишу, что
The extreme cold weather and snowstorms that grip the southeastern and eastern parts of Canada. Winter service vehicles and snow plows cleared the roads amid heavy snowfall that blanketed many areas in the region. Snow Festival was also cancelled in Montreal due to snowstorm. This was the first cancellation in nearly a decade. China will hand out detailed punishment for officials that miss air quality targets in their respective regions this winter. China's Environment Ministry said it won't accept excuses like inclement weather or adverse economic conditions if targets are missed. China is in its fifth year of a war on pollution to reverse the environmental damage caused by 4 decades of fast growth in areas like Beijing. The PM 2.5 concentration has been to an average of 73 micrograms per cubic meter in the last 3 months. The spike in pollution prompted fresh fears that local government were turning a blind eye to the polluters. The Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravind Kumar, has met with the Commerce Minister, Suresh Prabhu. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Youth Privacy Bharatiya Davos today. The Prime Minister of Mauritius is the chief guest. Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh is hosting the 15th Davos. The theme for the year is Role of Indian Diaspora in Building New India. Several world leaders of the Indian origin are expected to speak on the role of Indian diaspora for a new India.